Hey, it's Mike here, and today, 3 quick tips for new vegans, which largely apply to old vegans too. Those old vegans! Actually, speaking of old vegans, Ellsworth Wareham did pass away at 104, so RIP Ellsworth, you were pretty kick-ass. It is 2019 now, and Veganuary signups have hit an all-time high of 300,000, which is awesome. And if you look on Google Trends right now, global web searches are at the highest point in history that they've ever been, so this might be a good year for veganism. I'm thinking, 2019, year of the vegan. Point is, a lot of people are where I was when I started years ago, and so I want to not just throw in a few tips here, but kind of tell you guys what I would tell myself if I was just going vegan right now. Now, because I don't want to be repetitive, I'm going to shy away from a lot of the new vegan tips that I've given in the past. I'll just nutshell them. Make sure you get enough calories because animal products are really dense. Make sure you're prepared with snacks and stuff like that so that you don't fail and go off the wagon. And use Chronometer or another nutrition tracker just for a couple days to get the ropes. No, these points are going to be more strategic and about overcoming internal hurdles, because once you conquer this, once you overcome those hurdles, then things like where you get your calcium, those are just details. Okay, now for tip number 1, and that is that you have to be prepared for some personal evolution. Now, I'm not really a self-help kind of guy. I'm more of a read studies at you kind of guy. I'm not like Infinite Waters or Tony Robbins, but this is just something you do have to do. Succeeding as a vegan requires some degree of personal evolution for pretty much everybody. For some people out there, it's gonna be the most self-control they ever need to exercise by not eating everything that is generally recognized as food. And for other people, it's gonna be the first time that they're socially different, and so they're gonna have to work on that vegan shield a little bit. For me, that meant learning all of the vegan-related data so I could defend myself. For others, that might mean getting super fit so their body speaks for themselves. For some, it might mean getting a nutrition certification, and for others, it might even mean meditation. I actually know a guru. Should we have him on? Let's have the guru on. Ooh la, ooh la 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 la. Oh, hello there. I'm Swami Vegananda. Welcome to my vegan meditations. I just got back from the light and love of my Cabo vacation, and I'm here to teach you some knowledge. Just breathe with me and repeat after me. I am not a baby cow. I am not a baby cow. Meatballs? How would you like to meet my ball? Protein. Protein. Since you can't get enough on a vegan diet, we have to manifest it. Obviously, I'm kidding, but there are definitely some meditations out there that can make you more centered within yourself, reduce anxiety, things that would help you stay vegan and succeed. And I do want to mention, of course, you can get enough protein on a vegan diet, and I'll link a video about that below. You don't have to manifest it. The point here is it's good to be open to some personal evolution and, reinforce that vegan shield from all of the, BS from meat eaters, possibly chicken nuggets that will be thrown directly at your face. Now for tip number 2, find vegan community. Simply that you need to try and find other vegans and make it a social thing. Imagine if the whole world was vegan and you decided to be the only person that eats meat. That would be really hard, very difficult socially. So by going on a vegan diet, which is not the majority diet, it's gonna be a heck of a lot easier if you have other people around you that are doing the same thing. And that can mean trying to find some local meetups or starting one if there isn't one. And it can also mean trying something like Challenge 22, where you have some mentors and some nutritionists, etc. And look into this Faunalytics survey on former vegetarians and vegans. 84% of those that failed were not involved in social organizations like potlucks or online communities. There's only 71% for the successful people, but that's still a notable margin. And if you have a significant other and you're really lucky, maybe they're vegan, they can sort of be your partner in vegan crime like that, but they may not be vegan, and I would say definitely tell them that you're very serious about going vegan, because a lot of times I see people's significant other who's not vegan kind of try and slowly push them out of being vegan, and day after day after day, that eventually can work. So you just gotta, refuse to kiss them until they go vegan. I'm joking, I'm totally joking. You have to refuse a lot more than that. All right, this third and final point is one that I employed, but it wasn't necessarily consciously, it was just something I did, and I think it helped me not fail when I was first going vegan, and that is to simulate failure. And what do I mean by that? I mean imagining the moment in which you'd be most likely to fail, asking yourself, how is it that I failed on my vegan diet sort of prematurely? It's kind of like The Secret, where you're envisioning success, but it's the opposite. But the idea is that when you think about how you're most likely to fail, you can then adjust for that and not fail. I also want to add, how do you think astronauts do it? They learn how to respond to things going wrong because failure is not an option. because that means they're dead. And you know yourself better than anyone else. You probably know that potential moment of failure better than anybody else. But as an example, let's say you're out at a restaurant. Maybe it's a work lunch and you have 5 coworkers there and you're not familiar with the restaurant. You don't know what to get. So you have a few options. Option A, cave, order something with animal products, which is eating against your morals likely and your health goals. Or B, you can whip out your phone and Google restaurant name vegan options, and hopefully, especially if it's a chain, there will be some. And if it isn't some common chain, you can go with option C, which would be look at the side menu, do a sort of a la carte meal. And I've probably told this story 1,000 times, but one time I was traveling in an airport at a sort of Applebee's style family restaurant. I made a meal out of side dishes. It was a bunch of beans and rice and veggies. And I had this plate here, and the dude next to me, after looking at the whole menu of all of the meat and dairy and all that stuff, he went, "Oh, I'll have what that guy's having, that vegan plate." He didn't know that, but it was good. Also, since we're talking about eating in a restaurant with a bunch of meat-eating friends, for example, it's also important to sort of stand your ground, not hesitate, be sure of yourself, because the moment you hesitate, they'll be like, "Oh, he's hesitating. Quick, shove a meatball down his throat." Because vegan failure is like a fetish to a lot of meat eaters, and I talk about this phenomenon in my Vegan Eats Meat Cries Tears of Joy video. And back to this Faunalytics chart, 63% of those that failed said they didn't like sticking out from the crowd, so be prepared to shine. And last point about social pressure is that you should never be afraid to eat within your morals and your goals, because no one's gonna remember the time late at night that you're like, "No, I don't wanna have pizza," even though they'll act like it's literally the end of the world that you don't want pizza then. It doesn't really matter. They don't really care. Okay, if any new vegans are actually watching this, feel free to make suggestions because I'm gonna crank out some extra content throughout the month of January. And also, I will be linking that protein video that I mentioned earlier right here. And why not the Vegan Eats Meat Cries Tears of Joy one right there. All right, feel free to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get my videos later, and see you in the next one. And always remember, if you fail, vegan again. Brussels sprouts, Brussels sprouts, Brussels sprouts.